What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I just finished reading Zorba the Greek by Nikos Kazantzakis. That's a hard last name to say. Anyways, and we're going to speak out the plot, maybe read some passages together, and also use this 10-point rating scale that we used last time we reviewed a book, which was Mr. Johnson by Joyce Carey. Now, I think I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's not a perfect score, but worth talking about, okay? I don't review every book I read on this channel. It'd be too much work for me. But yeah, this one is worth reading, worth reviewing, and worth adding to your reading list if you have one, which I know you do. So yeah, in this novel, we have a guy. It's told in first person, and the narrator is actually not named. But he is kind of a drifter, okay? He's an author. He's a man of letters. He's kind of soft, okay, kind of sensitive, and there's this very strong dichotomy that's presented in the book between like a man of flesh and of life and of the world versus a man of books, okay? So this is it's a very strong division, and our protagonist, our narrator, is the second one, a man of book, and he is looking to move, maybe change up some scenery, and move to Crete, which is an island in Greece, and he is looking to get a crew to do some mining to make some money. I think that's basically the premise, and it ends up not being that important, but anyways. On his way there, he meets this guy in a cafe named Zorba, and Zorba, or Alexis Zorba is his name, but they call him by his last name, Zorba. He is the turning point, the focal. Like he's the point of the whole book, and that's why obviously it's called Zorba the Greek. Is because this guy is just like so interesting. Like he's lived like 1,000 lives, and he just is so interesting and enigmatic and full of life, and kind of refuses to be categorized in any sort of way. I guess beyond the fact that he's a man of flesh, a man of the world, and he has sort of no consistent like theology or philosophy. He kind of just like I guess he does kind of have a consistent philosophy, but it's very it's hard to describe. He just he likes women, he likes wine, he does things in the moment, and he doesn't think too much. And so, okay, what actually happens in the novel? Well, they go on the ship together to Crete. They begin working. And we get a bunch of flashbacks about Zorba's life and all the times he's married and he served in the military. And he did all these interesting things. At one point, this is very funny, near the beginning, where they find, so they're staying in like a tent on the beach, but every once in a while they go into this inn to be fed, and the innkeeper is this French lady named Madame Hortense, I think. I don't know how to say it with the French accent. And she's like kind of fat and old, and used to be like some sort of like opera singer or some sort of like artist and she was involved in high society and sort of like slept with all these like famous commanders and military generals, but she's kind of past her prime, and so she's like wrinkly and fat and old, but Zorba is like gets on fire for her and just like loves her, even though he could get somebody better. But Zorba himself is like 60 or 65. He's like really old, but if his spirit is so young and full of life that he kind of acts younger. And there's a lot of talking about death and the nature of death, and especially near the end of the novel, where Zorba kind of rejects death, right? Because he's 65, but he's so young on the inside still. He wishes he could live 1,000 years. Anyways, yeah. So anyways, he ends up having to marry Madame Hortense, because while he's out of town, the narrator kind of lies to Madame Hortense that he's out buying like wedding gifts. Sorry, the plot's all over the place, but it's a funny novel. And then at another point, they end up going to this monastery to buy some land to set up like a trolley system to bring logs down from the mountain. And everyone at the monastery is like totally like corrupt. And so Zorba convinces one of the monks to like burn down the monastery, which ends up tying back in later in the plot. And then at the end, they actually try to use I'm spoiling it kind of, not really, but the plot points are like secondary to the novel, which is more so about like discussing life philosophy, which we'll read a few passages about, and kind of just getting to know Zorba. And of course, during this whole time, the narrator is kind of struggling through his own qualms of what it means to live life to the fullest, and whether or not he chose the right path as a man of books. And he kind of tries to reject that side of his nature and sort of join with Zorba in his revels, and sort of the changes to his philosophy that occur because he sort of tries to engage in this same lifestyle as Zorba. Anyway, then at the end, the trolley system they set up to carry the logs all topples over, and they lose all their money, and it ends up not mattering. And yeah, anyways. Okay, let's get on to the rating scale. I always butcher the plot because I don't take notes. I'm just doing it from memory, and my memory's not that good. Anyway, okay, writing style, number 1. So I'm rating each of these on a scale of 1 to 10. Writing style. Evaluate the author's writing style, considering factors such as clarity. So it's hard for me to evaluate the author's writing style because it is translated, okay? I think, Kazantzakis is Greek, but I'm not sure. He probably wrote in Greek, I would imagine. So yeah, hard for me to evaluate that. So I guess this is more critiquing the translator. I thought the writing style was simple, easy to follow. So yeah, I'd give the writing style probably like a 7 or an 8. Number 2, plot storyline. Assess the overall plot or storyline, how original it is, pacing, how well it holds your interest. Now this isn't really primarily like a plot-driven novel, it's more a character-driven novel, same as Mr. Johnson actually. So the plot, a bit weaker, so plot I'd probably give like a 6. Character development, of course, this is obviously a 10 out of 10. Consider the depth and complexity of the characters. So Zorba is so unbelievable that he's believable, and is so enigmatic and interesting, and yeah, so Zorba kind of steals the show, but we also get the perspective and the musings of our unnamed narrator, which he's the guy struggling with the meaning of life and how it is best lived. So yeah, that's really great. So 10 out of 10. Number 4, world building or setting. Evaluate the author's ability to create a vivid, immersive world or setting. So it's set in Greece on the island of Crete. How believable is the world of Crete? Actually, he does spend a fair amount of time describing the environment and kind of giving it life. He goes into like smells and sights and kind of appeals to all the senses. So I would give probably world building like an 8. I think that was pretty well done. Pacing. Consider the pacing of the story, whether it keeps you engaged. There definitely were dull moments because it's not a plot-driven novel, so it's kind of a feature, not a bug. But of course, that's just one of the things about character-driven novels, is they tend not to be as engaging. So pacing, I don't know, like a 6 probably, and that's no fault to the author, just the way it is. Number 6, theme or message. Are there any underlying themes or messages? Certainly there are. I think the author certainly agrees with Zorba about the philosophy of life being kind of just to enjoy time while you have it and not think too hard about all these like different like struggles and issues of the world, and just to kind of ignore them. Although maybe he goes a bit deeper than that, you could argue. But theme or message, underall, yeah. Well, do I agree with a lot of the themes and messages in the book? Maybe not completely, but were they coherently and strongly suggested, and were they convincing? Yes, 9 out of 10. Dialogue. The dialogue was, it was okay. One thing that might catch your attention is that Zorba always calls the narrator, because we don't know his name, he remains unnamed, he's always calling him boss. Hey boss, hey boss, hey boss. And you're like, okay, we get it, boss. Dialogue, but it's not terrible, it's okay. Dialogue, maybe a 6 or a 7. Originality, I mean, who am I to assess originality? I mean, you have to kind of know a lot of books to assess that. But I would say it's fairly original. I mean, Zorba is kind of a hard person to replicate, so originality, probably an 8. Emotional impact. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I said this with Mr. Johnson as well. Like, I'm not super emotionally moved by a lot of things. I wasn't really moved emotionally by this book either, which isn't anything new. But yeah, maybe like a 7. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a tragedy or anything. I guess near the end of the book, things go wrong, but yeah, maybe a 7. And at the end here, entertainment value. Assess how enjoyable or entertaining the book was for you personally. This is what I usually use to rate a book, just entertainment value. I don't think the author, I mean, dang. Like, certainly Zorba is very entertaining, but I don't think, like, the underlying theme or message of the book, like, the purpose is to be entertaining. I think that Kazantzakis is kind of using it as a vessel or a vehicle to show how Zorba's philosophy of life kind of dominates the narrators. So entertainment value, yeah. I think just because Zorba is so memorable, that definitely adds to the entertainment value. So I'd probably say it's like a 7 for entertainment. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't keep a running total in my head. I don't know if the math works out too. So you'll have to do it in your head, or maybe I'll rewatch it and do it in the YouTube description. But yeah, that was Zorba the Greek. Sorry for butchering the plot. It's kind of a thing around here. I just butcher all the plots for everything. But yeah, highly recommend this book. It's not going on in the Hall of Fame. It's not a 5 out of 5, but it is certainly worth adding to your reading list. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.